Tell me what the hell are you scared of when in the end the only thing
Where's
that's
the love?
left
Right here on this
is
podcast. Welcome to Love Drops, where your hosts and One Love ambassadors, Charles and Diane, will share love, hope, and inspirational topics taken from their journey and world events. We will also include on-location recordings and special pop-up guests from cool places all around the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never fails.
Welcome to another episode of Love Drop Podcast. We are so excited to have you with us today, and we are very excited about the topic that we'll be discussing and our special guest. So many of you know that Charles and I are visionaries, but we're not just visionaries, we are also manifestors because that which we see in our minds we also see in reality and we live into our dreams. So, with that said, Charles.
Yes, and our guest today is a visionary also. And with that said, I'm not going to waste any words. We've known her for a little over a year now, and we like to introduce her to you. With that said, the mic is yours, Arian. The mic is yours.
Thank you, y'all. Hi, I'm Arianne King Comer, and I am a textile artist that is on Guatemala Island in South Carolina. I've been on this island now, living my dream for almost 3 years. I'm on 6 acres of land. The back of it is marsh, and on the side, there's a bridge that has a brook. And 3 acres was cleared when I came here because it had been a tomato farm. And 3 years ago, also, I decided to come on the land and manifest my dream, which is a sanctuary for me and for my guest. I have lived a life since being in Nigeria. I committed to wherever I am being a sanctuary for others. So I have been living like that since Detroit. And then I moved to St. Helena. And then I moved to Charleston, all in the journey of being an artist. And I had this vision when my son had 2 of his daughters who met for the first time. They manifested meeting each other. And in doing that, I get to see this photograph of 2 daughters, 2 sisters meeting each other and bonding from that point on. And when I saw that image of all of my son's children together, it said to me, if they can do that, if these 2 5-year-olds can find each other and bond, I'm going to remember and try to manifest what I remember growing up. We as cousins every summer went together. We all were in, sleeping together, and we hung out together. And it was such a magical thing for us that I was like, I think I should be that one to do that again. I want to have a place that everyone knows that they can come to. Because I'm an artist, we will be creative. Because I love to cook, we're going to always cook together. And I said to my brother, I think that we should put our resources together so that we could get this place so that we know that all of the young folk could be together in the summer, and I will house them. I will sponsor them. I will manifest a place for the parents to know that their kids can be. That was one. The other was when I went to Nigeria in 92. I'm at Nike Oliani's house. The child leaves me there and laughingly said, "You'll be fine." And I recognized that she had created a sanctuary, be her there or not. And here I am in her place in Oshobo, Nigeria. I get to meet probably 8 artists that had found their way to her place. I think at the table there were folk from Germany, Italy, St. Croix, the different countries. And we're sitting there. They asked me because they found out that I was from Virginia Beach and loved to cook. They asked if I would fry chicken. I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. So we're all sitting there and we were realizing Nikkei had created this place that here we were from all the different countries and we're in her place. And she wasn't even there. And we all decided, that is a good way to live. All of us travel and we should adopt this way of looking at our places. So we all in 92 committed to going back home and creating our homes so that it could invite other people to come, be it a day, be it a week, be it a month. And so we were saying to each other, if we can get our flights, but know that we have a place to go, it'll make it even easier. So literally, we all came back home, and I certainly created my home as a sanctuary for others. So everywhere I've been, Detroit at that point, and then I moved to St. Helena, and then I moved to Charleston. That was the truth there. So for me, this island, though I initially was thinking of this place for my grandchildren and nieces and nephews, the other was this, that artists can come and manifest creativity, connections, and be empowered with the culture, the history, the nature that this place has. So though we unfortunately in our ignorance lost serious amount of money because we were naive, something said to me, but Arianne, you could still do this. Though I have to say it was like a death and I was heartbroken that that dream was not happening. But something in the year said to me, but who you are can manifest that. The other is, I know how I was going to do it. But by that time, I had certainly learned the spirituality was my way of living. And so I decided to evoke my angels, my ancestors, my gods, my goddesses, and ask for wings. It's like, no, I don't know what I'm doing, but I do have faith. I just ask for help because I'm going to do this out of commitment and faith.
Yes.
So I on this property with friends, I was able to get a camper. It's efficient. It has everything in it. It's, sustainable, gas stove and air conditioning and heating. And my son came and airbrushed it indigo blue for me. And the Gullah people who are crafters, they were like, we can do a pavilion for you. So within 3 days, the pavilion was done. So I was guided. I'm not going to live in fear. I'm going to live in faith.
The fear and faith, I want to jump in because you made so many good points and I'm trying to make notes here. I'm like, she is getting it. She is gone. And whew, Charles and I have been to your land. We've had the honor and the privilege to come on your land, and it is magical. I had the honor to walk around the land. It is definitely a vibe there that says you are welcome here. We had a chance to eat outside of your indigo blue camper. We turned in your driveway with your indigo blue mailbox. We were able to see your bottle trees, which were also blue. And we're gonna get into that with you in just a second. But I just wanted to say where you mentioned the faith over fear, that I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to let my faith lead me, right? And I just wanted to jump in there and say a sanctuary, a place of hospitality, a place of welcoming people. You don't really have to advertise it. The vibe will do that for you. And I say that because everywhere that Charles and I have stayed for any amount of time, anywhere we've stayed, people, they gravitate, they want to come. And we love being hospitable. We love to have a meal. So when we came to your place, it's like, let's have a meal together. We sat outside and had a meal together. We were in Nashville and we did a lot with young people, young women, young men. And so one young woman, she saw Charles at church. I wasn't there that Sunday. And she said, I want to come and just take a nap at your place before I go to work tonight because there is peace in your place. And Charles was like, well, come on. And so she came and she literally just went into the guest room and went to sleep. And when she woke up, I had food for her to eat. And, we chatted, but that's a vibe. We don't say, oh, our place of peace space. You create that space, right? And you will attract the artists. You'll attract the people that are supposed to come in and visit you, Charles.
Yes, and the same thing occurred with several other young ladies that were talking with Diane. They just wanted to come for the peace, and they came, and they came. And then it just manifested itself with other folks as well. They just want to come for the peace. And we sit and we vibe and we share ideas, and other times just sit and relax.
Yes. So, you were saying you're like, I am going to manifest it. So I want to just I want to circle back to where we're at with the vision. Talk about the picture that sits out front of your land next to the mailbox, also right outside the door of your camper. You have another picture. Talk about that in the manifestation process of what you are doing here with this sanctuary.
Well, when we had the first round of trying to get a place here, I'm going to say we attracted an Italian architect that the thing that was overwhelming for me as a spiritual person is that I thought I was wise enough in my travel, in my journey, to pick up dark energy. This I did not see. And out of that, we lost a lot of the money. We couldn't sue him because his wife, and so that was a part of the devastation. It was a thing that because the property was bought with commercial money, then it was advised that we do the same, was called 10 something, 1080, 10 something. But you had to do the transfer of what that was about within 7 months, and we couldn't do that. And it was, otherwise you would have to pay a big tax. Well, we didn't do it, and we had to pay a big tax. So out of that, though, and this is the point I'm making, I recognize after the death of that I forgot my own practice, my own way of living. That's through connections. It's through walking with people who walk in the light. Because before that, I didn't have the voice. It was my mother and my brother. And so therefore, even my vision was not really heard. And it was taken away from me, or let's just say it didn't, whatever. So when this happened, the death of that happened, then I went back to my sources and asked for an architect that could hear my voice. So I found this architect that teaches at the Building Arts. And this project is actually a part of the Building Arts, where from that school, they will learn by building this building, by building this sanctuary. And in that, April McGill is her name. She is a sustainable, conscious creator. And I am a part of that hemp community. So this drawing that you saw, everything about that sanctuary is being built from the earth. Wood, hemp, everything is manifested from that.
I want to circle you back because I didn't say what the drawing was because I wanted you to say it in your voice because it's your vision. So what is that drawing?
Well, the one that you saw that's near the camper was the first vision. But I then wound up attracting other people who had larger vision. Initially, it was going to be a house with 2 bedrooms. When I then attracted other folk with wider vision, I was on a Zoom call during COVID, and one of the visionaries said, "That's not big enough. You said you had people who come and they can come from one day or to whatever. You also said that your Native American want to come and do baskets on your porch. You also said you want the sweetgrass community to be able to come on your land and get sweetgrass whenever they need to. We need that to be a bigger place." So they paid my architect to reinvent the house. The house is with a solar panel on the top. It has a porch all the way around. It has a rainwater system. It has a solar system. And it has 4 bedrooms. So that the funders said, we might not ever get there, but we want to know that we could if we wanted to. So we need to know that we can put our heads down. If we came to Charleston, we want to know that we can come. The place is called Arianne's Artist Way. We want to know that we can be there and that we can probably stay a day, 3 days, a week, a month, and have somewhere to put our head. So it got changed. They afforded her to do a new draft. And I was really having a hard time when it wasn't my voice. And when it became my voice in this, and I go to the building arts, they said, "Oh, we know her. Oh, we can't wait for this to happen. Oh,
Wow.
yep, you've got that building permit."
Wow.
Okay. And so I already had the drawing, I already had the building permit, but the Smithsonian was coming through here. Now, when they made that commitment was before COVID.
Okay.
And then they said, "Well, now we're ready." And I'm like, "But let me tell you, I'm not in that house that I told you about." They were like,
Ah,
"But I've told them what I did have and said, if you don't mind, we don't mind." It's like, all right. So I had 22 travelers from the Smithsonian that came from Hawaii, from just all over. So they met in DC, took this wonderful bus, and it's because of the African American Museum that now Charleston is a part of the circuit. So here I am, this person that is a collector of people. And I decided, yeah, I want them to come, but I also want them to know about this island and the people that are on it, because all of us are sustainable livers.
yes.
So I decided, watching the commercial folk here who had done panels at their entrance, is like, I'm going to take that drawing. First of all, I watercolored her rendition. It was black and white. And then I watercolored and put the background on it.
Okay.
And I took that to the printing people and said, those panels that I'm seeing, commercial folk, how do they do that? So we just put it on metal, because I wanted the Smithsonian or anyone who came through here to see what the dream was, to know my intent, that I'm serious, but I have to do it this way. This is how I'm doing it.
I love that.
And that is what happened right before they came. That was 2 Octobers ago. I had the same folks that put this pavilion to do that post and put that metal drawing of the dream at the entrance. And it made a difference to the neighbors, because they were like, "Oh, we get it now."
Right, exactly. And I love that. And you're bringing it to life. You're committing to your vision in that way. And I love so much about what you just spoke on. I love that you had a smaller house, right? Because you were just, you were looking at it probably like in a realistic, comfortable way. And I love that once you put that intention out there and you allowed for it, then you receive someone speaking bigger into it, right? Because of what you said you wanted the vision to be. A lot of times we say we want something, and then when we kind of start putting it down or bringing it to life, it's too small. So the fact that you are able to receive that, then it allowed for you to get this architect to come and do the drawing. So I was thinking when I saw it, I said, wow, that is amazing. But now knowing that you added your artistry, which is now putting your energy right on top of what she's done. And then, oh my, now we got the Smithsonian people coming to now see your vision, right? So what this illustrates, and I love it, is people think you have to have your ducks in a row. You got to have the sanctuary built. But what is aligning for you is this. Yes, you can manifest this. You keep going bit by bit. Just keep going. The picture out there, you can see it as you're driving by. And I've taken several shots of that picture that you had out on your land. And there's also a YouTube video that I'm going to connect to this link because it also kind of gives a really great view of the land and the pavilion and all. Shout out to Tony Bell for, creating that for you. So you go from a vision in your head that was inspired by your grandchildren and also a trip over to Nigeria where you said, I want to create this sanctuary. So it goes from a vision that you spoke about to going into an architect. And I also love the part where you said, hey, you had a big stump because you lost a lot of money, time by someone that really came to do you not well. But because you pushed on, right? Because you did not stop there, then you got another architect involved. You got the School of the Arts involved. You got a bigger dream manifested. You got the Smithsonian people that came. So it's so much in that. And what that speaks to is you have to stay focused, persistent, and consistent with that vision. If you see yourself in that house, I see us in the house eating. I said that when we were sitting out there, out in the pavilion, I said, I can't wait to be in the sanctuary. Charles and I are going to come sleep in that. We're going to lay our head in the sanctuary.
There you go.
Yes, we
Right.
are. So now I want you to take us to the next part because you spoke on it. You had someone come, you had an architect that was not in alignment, but then you also took responsibility for that because you said you stepped out of what you generally do as well. And then once you got back into your alignment using your voice, then you attracted the right architect, right? And so then you get this big poster, you get permits, you got it set up in front of the house. But now we're even further. So what's the next step to that vision? What am I seeing there from the pergola or that's outside of your camper? What am I looking to my left and I'm seeing what?
Well, I had the fear of God kind of conversation, and it maybe just was my way of looking at it. Someone maybe last March was like putting the fear of God that Arianne, they might pull your building permit because you haven't moved. Now, it might be my perception, but it bothered me. I mean, like no sleep, the fear thing. And because I had manifested monies before, in fact, one of my girlfriends who has a foundation, she started me off with a $50,000 gift, Archibald Motley Foundation. And I thought, if I am able, because of who I am and who I know, and I have people who believe in this dream, I'm going to keep going. So I knew that to get the foundation, I needed 15,000. And I figured, oh, because I now have a nonprofit, I've gone the route. I've got a nonprofit. I've done a couple of GoFundMe's, but things were slowing up. Just life made things slowed up. And I was beginning to feel lack and fear and whatever. Something said to me, but you need to manifest some energy here. So I asked that same girlfriend, let me borrow from your foundation 15,000, that when I get my legs and the funding in order, because I'm in, I have things in order, I will give that back to you. But I need to get this done to manifest movement.
Yes.
She said, absolutely. And in that, I knew I'm a part of two organizations. One was called, is the Smithsonian came back, and then the Southern Sampler Artist Colony. It is a anthropology group, and they come through here every year. I thought I need this vision for them to see movement.
Yes.
So that was the catalyst. I got between March and April the foundation done.
Yes.
Now, where I am now is the contractor, who, by the way, if I had the total amount of money, because they are able, it's called Charleston Fab Lab, by the way. They are in on Meeting Street. Literally, they do all your walls and everything in their factory, and in 3 days, the house is up.
Wow. Wow.
But this is also a part of the building arts.
Wow.
So when I called him and said, okay, because he had said to me the year before, you need 15 to get your foundation done.
Okay.
And I knew that then. And I was like, okay. But just life, stuff came in the way and things were slow. And that's why something in me just knee jerked to say, let me just get this money in, and I will, know that I'm going to get myself, my legs, and we'll get all this. Now, though, that I had that, then they said, but now, Arianne, now you're at the part that you got to have at least 90,000, because you can't start building this walls or floor without completely sealing it, because the Sea Islands won't handle that. You got to have it, the whole thing, and you will need that much. So that's where I am now, trying to get the legs, trying to get my connections, trying to, all that needs to be done to attract that. He also said, because that contractor who has twin kids, boy, girl, twins, he bought a bus and converted it to a house on John's Island and built their house. So he knows, he gets me.
So he got the process. He understands the camper.
Right.
He understands that you have the foundation. So you have the foundation that's laid, and you have pillars that are up. And so when Charles and I were there, I literally walked around your house. Not only just walked around your house, but walked around your house and blessed every square inch of that land around your house. The porch, I walked around the porch and just spoke blessings. You say 90,000 will take you to the next phase. My question for you is, what will take you to, what's the bottom line? What's the bottom line to have the sanctuary built? You said you can get someone that can build in the lab, get out there, get it done in 3 days. That tells me, hey, we still got time in this year. So what's the bottom line? What is the bottom line?
Well, okay. So 2 things. The concept is called affordable living. So it was, before COVID, 192,000. After that, it moved up to 400,000. When I'm saying to you, it took me a minute to get back on the horse, I'm saying that was a blow.
Understood.
So
Understood.
now Charleston Fadlad said, our process, we can drop it back down to 300,000. I moved it away from the 4,500.
400. So we're talking
So,
nearly $500,000 is what you're saying.
yeah, but now it's 300,000 for this process.
Gotcha. Okay, so you know, one of the things that you mentioned, and that was the fear factor, the faith factor. The faith factor is going to get tested every step
I know.
of the way in a
I know.
vision. And you have to remember that, because if you remember that, then when the tests come and you start kind of feeling the fear, because you're human and you're going to feel some kind of way. Some people don't like to call it fear because it makes them uncomfortable. Call it what you want. But
Right.
there will be tests along the way, every step of the way. When you have a vision that you believe in, the way that you are believing and manifesting this vision, as evidenced by the movement that you placed when fear came in, then one of the main things is you have to take the number out of your head. You can't play with numbers, because numbers attached to limitations, attached to fear. So in faith, I don't care if they came and said it's going to be 200 billion. You're like,
Right.
I'm going to have this sanctuary on this
Right.
land here. We're doing this. Smithsonian and been back there twice, because you can get a number, but then you can also get an angel donor. You can also get a contractor say, I'm going to come out here and I've heard about it and I want to come out here and do it. So what I encourage is keep the movement going. Keep the movement, even if that's putting pretty things around or plant a bush in front of it or whatever. Keep the movement. Get a placemat and drop it right there on the foundational ground where the porch gonna be. Welcome. Keep the movement going. Just keep the movement going, Charles.
And that forward momentum has continued to grow every step of the way. And you're constantly adding new energy, new vibes, and you're staying open to it as it's growing. Others are seeing this, as you mentioned, that they're coming from other places in addition to the Smithsonian. They're hearing about it. So as they continue to tell more people about it, other organizations, things that you didn't know initially, have come to fruition and continuing to grow. This is phenomenal. It's truly phenomenal. From a 2-bedroom to a 4.
Right.
And think on a larger scale. Didn't envision that, but look at these ideas that are coming. The total manifestation is coming together.
Yes. And I'm saying it's a sanctuary, it's an artist colony. So for listeners out there that are not familiar with Guatemala Island, tell us a little bit about it, because there's definitely a creative vibe. So that sanctuary just definitely need to be. It needs to be, because I truly believe that artists could create amazing work.
Well, for instance, Heart Bluff, which is what this road I'm on, is a horseshoe. And both of my neighbors have horses and they ride their horses across my road all the time. So Guatemala has attracted a lot of creative people. There are a lot of writers here, photographers, artists, ceramicists. And my network, even before I moved here, all of them, like I have one couple, they're called Pluff Mud. She is a weaver. He is a wood turner. They bought a house, a farmhouse, and they manifested and decided that they wanted to grow everything that they use. So they have chickens that lay blue, amber, and green eggs.
Wow.
They grow hemp, indigo, flax. They have Angora sheep and goats so that she can weave what she grows.
Wow.
And her husband does these amazing wood pieces. Like he also does fountain pens that he then drenches in indigo. So this is the spirit of this place.
Wow.
We might be Republican and Democrat, but what we have in common is we live off the land in who we are.
Wow, I love it.
And even before I moved here, I knew that they were here. Now, since being here, I've met even more of the artists. Like right at my entrance, when you come on my second turn, that couple, they create copper and brass chandeliers and lanterns. And they have chickens and they grow amazing watermelon and gourds and, you know.
It's like an
It's,
artist or creative colony.
yes, and I was going to say like-minded individuals there with their creativity, all coming together.
Yeah.
Right. So up the street is a winery called Deep Water. So they have, you know, the vines and everything, but they also have a wine tasting system. They also have events there. They have a store, you know, for other artists to put their work in there. And then on the other street, Maybank, there's only two main streets here, there is a tea farm that's been here since 1600.
Are you talking about Bigelow?
Nope, it's called the
What?
Charleston Tea Farm. They have been here that long, and acres and acres and acres and acres and acres of tea plants there. All
Wow.
of these places people come to every day. We also have a fishery that sturge fish, and the caviar is what restaurants here use in their restaurants. That's right here in Wamala.
Wow, such a collective, pretty much everything that you need or could think of, from the winery to the hemp to the indigo.
Right.
I want to circle back to the indigo because that is something that you do on your land, and you are well known, for that. So talk about that a little bit with us.
I initially, when I first started and was in St. Helena and then moved here, and again, a lot of dreams go into other dreams,
Yeah.
Initially, my thought was to have a place and have all types of indigo, because there are 32 in the world, by the way. I had this dream with the Cultural Affairs Office that I was at that time their artist in resident, that's what we were going to do. We were going to be this haven, and we were going to have all of the different indigos so that people know. But my blessing is that I came from Detroit to Oshobo before even knowing I was coming to Charleston.
Wow.
I was a cultural affairs person in Detroit when I came to Oshobo. And being with craftsmen in Oshobo, I was filming everything, every village I went to. So I actually saw how those that do indigo, I went to each village that aligns what they do to something else. So there was a village of people that were making the pots. I watched how they fired them in the ground. And then I went to another plantation. It's not, they didn't call them plantation in Nigeria. I'll say farm, that they did the cassava. Then I went to another where this village takes the indigo seeds, and then they pound them and they store them so other people can just buy balls of indigo.
Okay.
So for me, even though things have changed, I came here, two things. I'm 79. I am not going to be this farmer that is in the field doing anything. anymore.
Gotcha.
I am not, and I don't have to because I'm in the world of indigo dyers.
Yes.
Right here on these 3 islands, I know 10 indigo dyers.
Wow.
So I'm more indigo advocate with my art. And I am a resource of all of us trying to make sure that we are supported, financed to do this work.
Okay.
I am aware that there's this trauma about indigo and the enslaved, but I can't stay in that light. I've
Right.
got to instead, where are we from the enslaved experience? How are we going to manifest what came from that on this earth to empower the life of indigo in the future? So, for instance, when I, in the fall, go in my residencies and I see fields of cotton, I can't help but take how beautiful that picture is with the sunset hitting. I do it every year. Can't help it. Invariably, I'm going to get this whole slew of pain conversation about slavery. I am not the one to say it didn't happen. In fact, as an empath, I feel all of that history. But can we not remember that South Carolina's earth is growing, the cotton is growing, or can grow anything that was happening in enslavement? It's because the land is fertile, not how painful those who controlled the land. Are we not still wearing cotton?
Yes.
Is there anybody in the field actually pulling cotton? No. A Black man created a machine that goes and scoops up all the cotton, clears it out, but it's coming still from South Carolina. That is where I am. Where are we going to take this indigo and manifest it in the history that came, that this fertile ground still grows profusely indigo, rice, cotton into the future? That's what I'm about, the advocacy.
Okay. What was that magnetic pull that pulled you to indigo out of all the areas in the world you could have went?
The color blue. Just that. And that's why I said I didn't know until others sort of interpreted for me. I mean, I was doing it. I've always, blue is a soothing thing for me. It always has been. I did not know until I hit Nigeria that that blue from indigo is an ancestral symbol. And then when I heard that in Oshobo, I started doing research and found all areas, all countries that grow indigo also use that indigo as a voice of ancestry across the world. So I backed into something that was just a soothing color that I was attracted to. And hearing in Nigeria how important that blue is to ancestry, then it just woke me up that maybe I'm a conduit for that. Because the indigo, being in Nigeria, the last color they use in anything, all their paintings, is indigo.
Okay.
You might think it's black, but it's actually indigo. And then when I'm there over there, then I'm looking at their libraries and research and realize that the tattoos of ancient is indigo.
Wow.
So then I back in and watch in Egypt, though it looks black, if you really look at it, it's blue. When you look at Cleopatra, you might think it's black. Look deeper, it's blue. So it is coming from the practice of using indigo to have a voice way, 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 way back. So when I left Nigeria, I was like on fire. It's like, oh, all right, I have something to say.
Wow.
And some power that I didn't know about until I went to Africa. I realized the significance of what I had learned and that I became this advocate about the significance of indigo in the world as a voice. And looking to come to South Carolina from Detroit, I'm doing research and realize that people who are doing indigo are like cigarette smokers. We can't help it. We just, we gotta do this journey.
Would you say it's a calling?
It's a calling.
Yes.
While I was in St. Helena doing this work, young people from Germany came to my studio. That's the other thing. It attracts people finding you.
Mm-hmm.
And they said to me, so we indigo children, and I hadn't heard that word before, but they came because they knew I was an indigo child.
Mm.
I didn't stop them, but when they left, I'm like, let me check on what indigo child is.
Right.
Well, the spirit of a person who walks from a truth inside, not what other people are doing. If you probably have indigo children, it's the one that you couldn't teach stuff out of them. They just still had to do it.
Yeah, I'm an indigo child.
Well, that's the other thing. Seekers are indigo children. Seekers are just indigo children.
You're an indigo child. Anyone with
Yes.
a vision that's going hard in the paint and persistent to go for is an indigo child, because you can't talk it out of them. You can't teach it out of them. You can't distract it away from them. It's just like, I have this vision. So listening to you speak just now, a couple of things came up. One, you were talking about not having your voice, right? You said, I didn't have my voice. I needed to find my voice. I need to put my voice onto the vision. You were called, attracted to indigo in Nigeria. You not only had, talk about a master class, right? Because you were able to go to different villages and just learn different things about the process, right? So now you come back, your home, the sanctuary, indigo blue is the color of the sanctuary, right? That will call the indigo children to come there to be a part of it, right?
Right.
So now, as we are kind of coming to the point where call for action, right? Call for action. So what is it that you have to say to those that are out there right now, just looking at ways to be a part of the art, looking at ways to give? I don't want to say necessarily a charity, but maybe just a movement of substance, to give to something that will keep on giving, because that is what the sanctuary will be. It will be a safe place. It will be a creative space. It will be a space where magic definitely happens, because it will allow you to tap in. It will connect you to or back to the ancestors, because that indigo blue comes from, right? So what is it that you would like to say? We're looking at, let's just make it a smooth $400,000, because we don't want to just build it. We got to put things in it, and we got to do landscape and stuff. So we're saying $400,000. So if you're listening right now to the podcast and you have the money to drop, you want to just drop some love drops, love pours, you know of someone with the money, because what may seem like something big for us is just a drop in the pond when you look at the bigger picture. So, Arianne, what do you have to say? What is your call to action? Love drop right here. Drop it right here.
I'm praying as you just said that I say the divine words, but I am asking to join me in this vision of creating a place that is a healing, nurturing, peaceful place that will be here if my body is here or not, because the way that I see this, if I'm here or not, it's the vision beyond me to have a sanctuary that people can gather and have a magical moment of connection to be able to then be your best creative self. In that, my consciousness, of course, is the environment. Anyone who can hear my voice know that I am conscious of climate warming. I am conscious of the value of trees. I am conscious of putting, and by the way, I have every healing plant already. People have donated healing plants on the property. They're in pots waiting to just have them wherever. So I have elderberry. I mean, I have every healing, and they were gifted because that's the point. We need to have this place as a healing place for everyone else.
Yes.
It's a we.
Yes.
I'm a catalyst
Yes.
to this being for people to know they can come here and do smoked salmon and do beautiful music and have musicians come, gatherings come, important conversations of connection
Yes.
in our dialogue while we're eating organic, wonderful foods that we make here.
Yes. Wow. So with that said, what do you have set up? So I'm listening to this and I'm like, word up. I'm ready to drop 100,000 right now. What do you have set up for me to do that?
I have created a nonprofit that is called ibileartistsanctuary.com. And my arm of nonprofit is Fractured Atlas. So I actually have that written. I have also Arianne's Artist Way fundraiser, because the artist part, Arianne's Artist Way, is that connection of artists coming and doing things the artist way here.
Okay. Okay.
There is a GoFundMe with that, and there is a GoFundMe Ibile.
Gotcha. What I'm gonna ask you for is just, and you may have done it, but I'll ask again, is just shoot me an email with all of the links. And what I'll do is I'll take those links and I'll drop them in the narrative. Don't think about it, be about it. Now is the time. Let your actions be your support and not your words. Charles?
Mhm. That is fabulous. And out of all the things that you've shared, I know our listening audience is biting at the bit out there to get in touch with you and talk with you about it. What would be the best way for our listening audience to get in touch with you?
Well, I am a Facebook person. I'm an Instagram person. And all of those links that you just heard, they're under those names. My email is indigoblue.akc@gmail. All of these have messengers.
Do you have a website?
I have two. The ibileartistsanctuary.com is one, and the other is the indigo one that I chose. And then the other is Arianne's Artist Way at gmail.com.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll do those two. We'll do the two websites in the Gmail. Arianne, it has been such a joy, such a pleasure to just have this conversation with you. So many rich nuggets that you dropped here. As we wrap up, what inspirational words would you like to leave with our listeners?
Stay aligned with others that are seekers. Stay aligned with people who are walking in the light of truth. None of us are islands. We need each other in that support to keep walking in our truth. Move to faith, trust, and pray away from fear paralyzing you. Walk in light.
Ooh,
Whoa.
walk in light. Walk in light.
And I know in walking in light, just walking on your land, walking around there, you feel it. You can feel it. You just
Yes.
become one with the environment, one with the earth, one with the atmosphere, oneness.
Oneness.
is fabulous.
It is. It really is. And even with the sanctuary in progress, not fully finished, but it will be. Even now, the vibe remains. You can still feel the healing energy just as it is right now. So, one last thing, what is your goal? When would you like to welcome your first guest? Speak it.
I actually have people who've already done funding to be here 3 years out. They're waiting on this place to be. They've already written their grants to be here. So the first months of 2025, because first of all, my Charleston Fab Lab can get this done in 3 days. So, all of this is a PR thing. All that I am has properties of PR for who I'm connecting with.
Yes.
Solar system, if this talk can attract those who are about sustainable living, know that this is a venue for PR,
Yes.
of quality, sustainable living.
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah.
It will attract. It's not if, it will attract. And so, in speaking and manifesting, because we're talking about vision to reality, so I'm speaking that someone will hear this episode and it will resonate so deeply that they will come in very strongly to put wind under your wings. And then once one comes in, then the next, all it takes is that one interaction to make it happen. Just one.
Yes, I can see the creative minds coming together on one accord, and you'll be hearing from them.
Yes. So we thank you for being our guest here on Love Drop Podcast. We thank our listeners for tuning in, staying with us. We thank our listeners in advance for supporting the sanctuary and just reaching out to Arianne, even if it's I see you, you go, I will share your info, but we are really appreciative of those that are sending the funds. Just know that there is no amount that is too small, and it's definitely no amount that is too large, and you will never go poor by giving. So just something to think about. We asked you to share and subscribe the Love Drop podcast. Spread the love to everyone you know. And until next time, we leave you with
One love.
Never a second will I waste. Never an opportunity to taste the sweetness of this life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Love Drops podcast.
Follow the challenge.
Be sure to follow this podcast and share the love with everyone you know. Until next time, this is Charles and Diane signing off. One love. One love.
Love it conquers all, whether big or small. Love never fails. Love it conquers all. Love never fails.